Welcome to Ask Dr. Betters. I'm Danielle, and I'm here with my granddad, Dr. Chuck F. Betters. Granddad, the question we have for you today is, how do I reconcile my faith with the pain of loss?
You know, Danielle, when we lost our son Mark back in 1993, hundreds of people came through the line. And I was struggling with just this very question. If I felt as though God had crossed the line and that all the other suffering we had endured up to that point was like a play date compared to the loss of losing our son. And I remember this, people walked through the line. Everybody had wonderful things to say. A couple of people had stupid things to say, but most people going through the line were simply looking for a way to comfort us on the sudden loss of a 16-year-old boy. But there's two people that came through the line that I firmly have planted in my brain. I can still see their faces. And I remember what they said. One was an old minister who was about to retire. He and I had just various occasions during my ministry to interact with one another. So I didn't know him all that well. But I remember what he said to me. He took me by the shoulders. He got real close to me, face to face. And he said these words, "With Jesus, like Jesus." And that's what's on Mark's gravestone right now. With Jesus, like Jesus. That's the only way in which you can reconcile enormous loss, pain, and heartache with faith in a loving and caring God who does all things well. That this is where it's leading. With Jesus, like Jesus. And that's what Peter said. I'll give you the second one in just a moment. Because Peter said this. He said, "Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery trial, which is to try you when it comes upon you, to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice, insofar as you share Christ's sufferings, that you may also rejoice and be glad when his glory is revealed. If you are insulted for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory and of God rest upon you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or a thief, or an evildoer, or as a meddler. Yet if anyone suffers as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God in that name." Isn't that beautiful? Peter watching children being thrown into wild dog stadiums because their parents believed in Jesus, knowing that if their parents recanted of their faith, their children would be spared. Yet they allow their kids to be ripped apart by wild dogs. Based on what Peter's saying here, if you suffer as a Christian, rejoice, for the Spirit of glory and of God rests upon you. The second person I remember coming through the line that day was a woman who was a caretaker for a paraplegic. And she told me, she said, "I sat at the red light trying to figure out what I'm going to say to you. And the Lord gave this to me. So I give it to you." She said, as she sat there at the red light, the Lord told her to tell me that there are some wounds that only heaven can heal. I read every book there was on grief, and all the conclusions were the same. Sometimes there's no answer for your suffering and your pain. There's no logical explanation. Sometimes it's a matter of you are suffering with Jesus and for Jesus, because one day you're going to be with Jesus and like Jesus. That's how I reconcile it. I don't think these trials that we're going through are by chance. I think they're designed by God to bring us in touch with the sufferings of the one who loved us with an eternal love. That's when we bring honor and glory to Him more than at any other time. Make sure you visit us at markinc.org, and I hope that you'll be a part of our ministry. I hope this helps.